Captain Jake Morrison stepped off the transport shuttle onto the gleaming platform of the Galactic Council station, his boots echoing against the crystalline floor. The massive structure orbited the neutral moon of Epsilon Prime, serving as the diplomatic heart of the known galaxy. Today would mark humanity's first formal introduction to the wider galactic community, and Jake carried the weight of his entire species on his shoulders. The receiving hall stretched before him like a cathedral of light, its walls composed of some translucent material that seemed to pulse with inner radiance. Representatives from dozens of alien species mingled throughout the space, their forms ranging from the gracefully tall and ethereal to the compact and armored. Jake had studied the files, but seeing them in person was something else entirely. Ambassador Lisa Chen walked beside him, her diplomatic uniform crisp and her expression carefully neutral. She had spent months preparing for this moment, learning protocols and cultural nuances that could make or break humanity's future among the stars. Behind them followed a small delegation of Earth's finest, scientists, military advisors, and cultural experts. "Remember," Lisa whispered as they approached the central dais, "we're the newcomers here. Most of these species have been part of the Council for centuries, some for millennia. We need to prove we belong." The Galactic Council had discovered Earth only 3 years ago, when humanity's first faster-than-light probe had accidentally stumbled into a trade route near Alpha Centauri. The contact had been cautious, methodical, and surprisingly peaceful. Now, after years of careful negotiation and evaluation, Earth was being considered for associate membership. Jake nodded, his eyes scanning the assembled delegates. Near the center of the hall, he spotted the Valerian contingent. The Valerians were among the Council's founding members, an ancient race known for their technological prowess and cultural sophistication. They appeared humanoid but taller, with elongated limbs and skin that shifted between pale blue and silver depending on the light. At the head of the Valerian delegation stood Princess Aria, heir to the Valerian throne and one of the Council's most influential voices. Jake had seen her holographic image during the briefings, but her presence in person was striking. She moved with fluid grace, her silver hair cascading down her back like liquid metal, and her large violet eyes seemed to take in everything around her with calculating intelligence. The formal presentations began with each species offering brief welcomes to the human delegation. Jake listened to the translated speeches, noting the subtle variations in tone and body language. Some seemed genuinely welcoming, others merely polite, and a few carried undertones of skepticism or concern. When Princess Aria stepped forward to address the assembly, the hall fell silent. Her voice carried easily across the space, melodic, yet commanding. "We gather today to welcome a new species to our community," she began, her eyes sweeping across the human delegation. "The people of Earth have shown remarkable resilience and ingenuity in their rapid technological advancement. However, we must consider carefully whether they possess the wisdom and restraint necessary for membership in our council." Jake felt the weight of her gaze as it settled on him. He had been chosen to represent humanity not just for his military record, but for his ability to remain calm under pressure and his natural leadership qualities. Still, standing before beings who had mastered space travel when his ancestors were still discovering fire was humbling. "Captain Morrison," Princess Aria continued, addressing him directly, "your species has a history of conflict and division. How can the Council trust that humanity will contribute to galactic peace rather than export its tendency toward warfare?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Jake had anticipated something like this, but the directness of it still caught him off guard. He stepped forward, aware that every word he spoke would be analyzed and recorded. "Your Highness," he began, his voice steady despite the pressure, "you're absolutely right about our history. Humanity has indeed struggled with conflict and division, but that struggle has also taught us valuable lessons about the cost of war and the importance of cooperation." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "We've learned that our greatest achievements come not from conquest, but from working together toward common goals. Our space program, our scientific advances, our efforts to heal our planet's environment, all of these required unprecedented global cooperation. We believe that same spirit of collaboration is what we can offer to the galactic community. Princess Arya's expression remained impassive, but Jake noticed a subtle shift in her posture. Something in his words had resonated, though he couldn't tell if it was positive or negative. Furthermore, Jake continued, our history of conflict has given us a unique perspective on the importance of protecting those who cannot protect themselves. We understand the value of standing against oppression and defending the innocent, even at great cost to ourselves. As he spoke, Jake noticed that Princess Arya's violet eyes had widened slightly, and a faint luminescence seemed to pulse beneath her skin. Other Valyrian delegates showed similar reactions, and murmurs rippled through the assembled crowd. Ambassador Chen stepped forward smoothly. If I may add, Your Highness, humanity's rapid technological development has been matched by equally rapid social evolution. Our species has learned to overcome many of our historical divisions through communication, understanding, and shared purpose. Princess Arya raised her hand for silence, her gaze still fixed on Jake. When she spoke again, her voice carried a note of something that might have been surprise. Captain Morrison, your words suggest a level of moral development that our initial assessments may have underestimated. She paused, and Jake could see her processing something significant. In Valyrian culture, we have a concept called ethical resonance, the ability to prioritize the welfare of others over personal gain, even in the face of adversity. It is extremely rare, even among species with millennia of civilization. The hall had gone completely silent now, every delegate hanging on her words. When you spoke of protecting the innocent and the value of cooperation, your biosignatures showed patterns that we typically only see in the most evolved members of our own society. Princess Arya's voice carried a note of wonder. This was unexpected. Jake felt a surge of hope but kept his expression carefully neutral. We may be young as a species, Your Highness, but we've had to grow up quickly. Perhaps that rapid maturation has given us a unique perspective. Princess Arya nodded slowly, then turned to address the full assembly. The Valyrian delegation will recommend immediate provisional membership for the human species, with full review for standard membership to commence within one planetary cycle. The hall erupted in surprised murmurs and discussion. Jake felt Lisa's hand briefly touch his arm in congratulation, but his attention remained focused on Princess Arya. As their eyes met across the chamber, he saw something in her expression that looked remarkably like respect. In that moment, Jake realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might. It was their capacity for growth, for learning from mistakes, and for choosing cooperation over conflict when it mattered most. The galaxy, it seemed, had been waiting for exactly that kind of wisdom.